At the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see a CC button. If you'd like the closed captioning on during the meeting, please click the CC button now. We'll have 30 minutes for discussion tonight for all your questions that you may have. We have found that the most productive conversations on this platform happen when we get to hear your question. So we prefer that you save your question and comments for the discussion period. During the discussion periods, please click on the hand icon on the bottom of your screen to ask a question or give feedback. I will then say your name and ask you to unmute yourself, and then you can ask your questions. If you're joining by phone, you can press *3 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute yourself. Please keep it to one question, as I'd like to have everyone have a chance to speak this evening. If you prefer, you can type your comment or question in the chat. We won't be answering these questions in chat immediately. We'll take them and address as many as we can during our discussion period. It's important that we take time to have a respectful and productive conversation tonight. And I'll do my best to make sure that those who want to provide feedback get a chance to do so. However, if we are unable to get to your question, I ask that you follow up with Councillor Tedjo, and we will answer it directly. We'll make sure to post the councillor's contact information in the chat at the end of the meeting, or you can find it on AlvinTedjo.ca. We have found out over the years the preferred layout view for this meeting is stacked view. If you'd like, please click the button on the top right-hand side of your screen and select stacked. With that, all those housekeeping matters out of the way, I'd like to hand over the floor to Councillor Tedjo.
Thank you, Ryan, for getting us started, and thank you everyone for coming and joining our meeting tonight. Also want to thank the regional staff and consultants who've been able to join us. This has been a long project in the works. There's a lot of technical details, but it's one that's absolutely necessary, and really glad that we could have the regional staff come on board today and show us and walk us through what we're doing, why we're doing it, and to discuss some of the various timelines. I know it's a challenging time. I live in the neighborhood as well, where we're running into traffic, and so all those considerations are made by our staff to disrupt as little as possible while implementing the important work. We had some unfortunate events in the last year or so where we've had some water main breaks and some sinkholes in the neighborhood. We don't want that near our homes, and so this work is essential for us to get through. I think there was some decisions made along the way in terms of how quick we can get the work done, and that's been the decision of staff to do that, to try and have the least amount of disruption possible. But they'll walk through those processes there. Luckily today, acknowledging the fact that there's a lot going on in the neighborhood as well, that the Ministry of Transportation was able to open the westbound on-ramp at the QEW to hopefully alleviate some of the issues that we're having, and that staff are here to constantly support residents in any concerns that they may have. Where there were some disruptions or some concerns around traffic, we were able to have more paid duty officers from Peel Regional Police do some more enforcement actions. There have been some monitoring of the additional traffic loads, and there's been some excellent suggestions from residents as well in terms of us looking into various traffic solutions for the neighborhood whilst we're going through the detours. So really want to appreciate everyone's time here tonight and how engaged everybody is in our neighborhood. That's what makes our neighborhood great. So really happy for that, and thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you, Councillor. Before I pass it over to our team from the Peel region, I'd like to just introduce some of them here. On the call, we have Avalon, Gage, Darren, and Jeff. They are the team that kind of make sure that the water keeps coming into our houses every day. I believe we're waiting on a few more members of the team to hop on the call. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, these are the folks that know everything about the project and can help out. So with that, I'd like to pass it over to the pros.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ryan, and thank you, Councillor Tedjo, for allowing us to come in front of some of your residents of your ward and share the information on why we started, where we're going, and how long we're going to be here. So my name is Darren Dodds. I am the manager of engineering for the water linear team at the Region of Peel. Here today as well, we have the director of engineering, Jeff Hennings. We also have Gage Thompson, who is our project manager for this project, as well as Avalon Myers, who is our ambassador, construction project ambassador. Avalon has been very present and in front of a lot of faces along this project, so she may be very familiar to many of you. So as we go through this presentation here today, as I'd mentioned, we're going to talk about how long or what the purpose of this project is, what our progress to date is, and where we're going to go. So I'll let Gage kick off that part of the conversation. Ryan, just so you know, the other two people that we were waiting for are actually on the public side. So you'll see two names in there, Ben Percy and Yvonne. Those are the other two people we were waiting for. So Gage, over to you.
Thanks, Darren. And yeah, feel free to jump in at any point, guys, along the way. So yeah, first slide here, just taking a step back and looking at the big picture. You see the line in red there represents the existing 500 millimeter diameter water main that was constructed back in the 50s or 60s. So that's an aging piece of infrastructure that connects from up at the Heritage Reservoir pumping station and feeds down into the south, the Zone 1 pressure zone area. So we've been, I think, for the last 5 to 10 years, attacking this stretch of pipe and replacing it in sections or phases. And this assignment that we're currently on, you can see the blue line, replacing the section along South Sheridan Way. All the green you can see has already been completed. So that includes most of the stretch from the pumping station up to South Sheridan Way there, and then just this past year we completed the stretch on Indian Grove. And the last stretch, which is still to come, not part of this assignment, is along Indian Road there, crossing the Credit River. So that's just kind of a big picture of why we're replacing this aging piece of infrastructure.
So just to kind of jump in on what Gage was saying, the pipe is of a certain age where it does start to fail. And as Councillor Tetchko had mentioned, there has been areas of concern. And that just deals a lot with the aging infrastructure. And unfortunately, what we've learned as we've been diving into this project is there's some efficiencies that we're capitalizing on as we replace this as well. And we'll be talking about those later on in the presentation as well, to ensure there's some consistency in how we deliver water to the residents, as well as move bulk water through Ward 2 to help support all areas south of the QEW.
Okay. Are you still controlling this, Ryan? Okay.
Yeah, I let me know.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So this is zoomed in picture now. Stretch we're focused on. You can see the green line represents what we've completed to date, and the blue is what's still to come. Just some highlights of the project. The main one being water main replacement along South Sheridan Way. We're putting in new 600 millimeter diameter pipe. We're also rehabbing a couple sections that cross the QEW highway, and some smaller diameter replacements on Pierre Place on the west side. And when we go into next year, we'll be also replacing some smaller pipes on some of those local streets Gallant Drive, Chippenham Drive, Herman Court, and that's on the east side of the project. And then what's most important there, you'll see the phase 1 and phase 2 split. If we jump to the next slide, we split the work into 2 phases, and each of these phases, as you're probably all aware, has its own road closure associated with it. So the current phase 1 road closure, which has been in effect since 2nd of October, and is expected to continue into January or February of this year, has the road closed from Southdown Road to Indian Road. And as we get into the spring, we will move into our second phase of the road closure, which stretches from Indian Road to just east of Gallant Drive there, or Tridham Court, I think it is. And that one's a bit longer of a duration. We approximate about 9 months for that one. And just to give everyone like an understanding, why did we go with this road closure approach? The main driver is just to shorten the overall duration of construction. So because South Sheridan Way is a 2-lane street, any construction we do is going to be impacting the flow of traffic. And if you close at least one lane, you're going to be impacting in both directions, because you need to incorporate some sort of flag person system, that you've all seen in your travels. When traffic is down to one lane, flagmen directing traffic in both directions. So it's just a very slow process, and it's a moving chain. There's a lot going on along South Sheridan Way, and to have road closure in place just allows us to blitz the construction, if you will, and get it done in as little amount of time as possible, so we can reopen it back to the vehicular traffic.
So, and in addition to that, we know how narrow the corridor is along South Sheridan, that both the city and the region fully endorse and promote Vision Zero. And this is part of that concern as well, trying to ensure that we mitigate those areas where there's high risk for any interaction between construction equipment and traveling public.
Great point there. So the next slide here, we're just showing you some progress of what we've done to date. You can see the top 2 images there. It's just us installing concrete pressure pipe. It's on the north side of South Sheridan Way. We've also installed a couple of valve chambers. So those just house these water main control valves, which can control the flow of water if they're in the open or closed positions. So we are progressing well. We figure to be on schedule. That's okay. Go to the next one. So this one here is just a little highlight. There were low pressure concerns for some of the residents in this neighborhood. So what we were doing as part of this project is a zone promotion. So residents in this highlighted area here will be being given a zone promotion. What that means is you'll be transferred over to the higher pressure zone, and that will be taking place to some of these residents earlier in the new year, others later in spring. And we will be sending out more advanced notice closer to those dates, what you can expect for those impacted residents. But we just wanted to highlight it here that it is another objective of ours with this assignment, alleviating those low pressure concerns.
The overall project, when we go right back to 2013, when we first kicked off this project, west side of Southdown, south of the QEW, pretty much over to Winston Churchill, We did similar pressure zone promotions to help with some very low areas that were what we call geographically challenged for what area they were already being serviced in. So this is another one of those areas where it's higher land than it may not seem it, but it's high. It's in an area that should be in the elevated pressure zone, and this is our opportunity to help correct an error that was done, or maybe not so much an error, but we've realized the areas of concern and we're now addressing them to ensure that they're put into the right geographical sort of area.
Thanks, Darren. And yeah, this is our last slide here. Just highlight a couple of points on our project to date. We have several permits and approvals in place, including from the city of Mississauga, that support our road closure, as well as the MTO working in proximity to PUW highway. We performed countless amounts of traffic analysis and signal timing analysis leading up to construction, and we continue to make adjustments now that the closure is in place. We recently completed a short duration closure over at Indian Grove in South Sheridan Way for a separate project, and we used this this data to better prepare us for this phase 2 closure that's coming next year. We have an extensive detour signage and detour plan in place. You've probably seen, or you've seen the progress of the work moving from west to east, from south down. We don't want to change the detour plan several times. We want to keep the phase 1 set up as it is. Next point there, paid duty officer. We've had police presence along Truscott Drive and along the detour route intermittently, policing for unsafe driving, speeding. Darren, maybe you can touch on what we've done at the Truscott and Southdown.
Yeah, so
in particular.
As Councillor Tedjo mentioned at the commencement of this town hall, we have utilized paid duty officers in the area to deter the unwanted behaviors that come with a detour route. And we are continuing to have ad hoc visits by our paid duty to continue the deterrence. And we have spoken very briefly with Peel Regional Police as well in terms of some added on-duty support for this community as well. That won't be a deterrence, it will be ticket issuing. So that hasn't been finalized as of yet, but that is where we are opening communications to see what opportunities there are.
Thanks, Darren.
Yeah, thanks, Darren. So with that, I think we can start to move over into kind of some of our discussion and some questions from the audience. So if you'd like to start raising your hand or put your questions in chat, we can start to look at them. But if you have any questions after this meeting, or it's some things you just want some clarification from the pros that we brought here, here's some of their contact information. All this information will be on Councillor Tedjo's website at the same spot that everybody signed up tonight at AlvinTedjo.ca/S-Sheridan. That's AlvinTedjo.ca/S-Sheridan. Another point is if you have any questions about any region of Peel construction project, a lot of the information, as well as the ability to sign up for notifications, can be found at peelregion.ca/construction. That includes this project, but also many other projects that are happening across this neighborhood and across the region of Peel. The construction notices are great, especially if there's something else besides South Sheridan Way happening in your neighborhood. So regionpeelregion.ca/construction. With that, I'll start looking towards the chat and taking some questions.
Ryan,
Yes.
but just before you move to the question, just wanted the audience to also be aware that at that same link, on I think the top right corner of that link, is an opportunity to sign up for notices. So by providing the region with your general area, once we know construction work's coming into the area, we are setting up almost email blasts to provide notifications and so forth for people that are of interest in certain areas. So there's a lot of great information on there, both active, planned construction, as well as the opportunity to sign up for those notices.
Yeah, it's at the bottom right and it says sign up for email notices.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ryan. Sorry for the interruption.
No, it's all good.